The following drills, which we're about to demonstrate, are basic strength train drills that we do, which are prescribed in our training program, which you guys, athletes of ours, obviously have, and then others might find on our blog. So what we're going to show you guys is just the general drills that we actually do, but not necessarily any order in which we do them. Alright, let's start. Jess is demonstrating the beginning of our hip drill routine, which begins with fire hydrants. Ideally you do 10 to 15 on each leg. Next up are knee to chest extensions. So here you bring your knee to your chest as close as possible and kick up towards the sky 10 to 15 times each leg. Make sure you extend the leg forward and then backwards as high as possible. Next are called hip circles. So you extend the leg 10 times forward in one direction like this, and 10 times the other direction on the opposite leg. By doing them both legs at the same time, it produces a better strengthening exercise and produces more fatigue. So 10 forward total, and then 10 backwards total. Notice the extension and the full range of motion through the hip joint. Next up are donkey whips. Extend the leg 90 degrees, keep your legs straight. It's called a donkey whip because you're just whipping your leg out 10 to 15 times. This one's often the hardest for most people. Leg 90 degrees to the ground, straight. Now you're switching positions. And we begin clams. Very simple. Just clam style, pretend you're a clam. Open your legs 10 to 15 times. As this gets too easy, you can start to use bands. You raise your leg to the sky 10 times, and then you do 10 with your toes. See how Jess's toes are pointed towards the sky? So you do 10 that way. And then once you've done 10 there, then you point your toes towards the ground and do 10. And make sure when you do this, keep your legs straight, and also to keep your toes pointed strongly in whichever direction you're doing it, because otherwise you're not getting maximal benefit. So now Jess is showing a lower leg raise. So you notice how the lower the leg underneath is the one lifting off the ground. But lower leg you bring back and you hold with your top arm, and you extend your top leg out as far as you can at a 90-degree angle, and then you lift it as high as you can to the sky. And you want to do 10 to 15 repetitions of this. Next are knee raises. Very straightforward, sit in this style here. And you just raise your leg. Do not let it touch the ground, which a lot of people do. So when you're doing the raises, you make sure your foot's off the ground, stays off the ground. And what it's doing is it's strengthening the patella tract in your knee, and it's just pretty necessary, especially for developing age group type athletes. And these, it's not, if you only do a few, it's easy. So feel free to do many to the point of fatigue. Next are just general hip ups. So you want to do maybe 10 to 15 of these where you go up 90 degrees like this and you hold for about 2 seconds before going back down. Next are walking marches. So it's the same, your body is at this 90-degree angle. See how Jess is nice and firm and straight. And you just extend the leg, you hold it for 1 to 2 seconds and then extend the other. And control the movement, be strong in it, and don't, and you see how she's extending the leg all the way out, just like that, good. So you just do a knee to chest. See this motion here, you want to do 10 to 15 of these total. And see how her heel is flat on the ground. So you just get this range of motion. Heel stays on the ground and your shoulders stay on the ground, but your heel is producing the force pushing upwards, and you're holding that knee as closely to your chest as possible. And if you do it right, you're firing with your glutes, and you'll feel it if you're doing it properly. So make sure the heel stays on the ground, the back, your shoulders stay on the ground, and you pull that knee as close to your chest as possible. Next are just general Supermans for your lower back. Everyone should know these. This should be common. Opposite, you can extend the opposite arm, opposite leg. The main thing here is just to produce a strengthening technique in your lower back. So right now Jess is going to demonstrate a general squat, which most people should be familiar with. So watch the form here. You want to get about 90 degrees as if you're trying to sit. Feet stay flat on the ground, heels are on the ground. You never want your knees passing your toes. If you do that, you're going to produce too much strain in your patella tendon, and it's going to result in knee pain and possible injury. So, alright, next we're going to demonstrate a squat jump. You want to go as high as you can, land softly on your feet and quickly. Use your arms to power your body up. Demonstrate a split squat jump. So here, it's called a split squat jump. Use the arms to drive up. And the idea is to go as high vertically as possible and not to move horizontally. The next drill we call runnermans. The idea here is to go through the running form. So you're on one leg, watch how Jess extends back, almost reaches the ground, and then drives the knee up. So it's basically a one-legged squat motion. So look, so you're going back, the legs touching, you're going forward, up, back, up. So it's a running specific squat. Next up are 4-point toe touches. So very simple. 4 points. Pretend you're standing in a box, and obviously a box has 4 points. So touch each one of those points with your toe. But the idea, again, it's more of a running specific type one-legged squat. So in these, you would do enough to feel level of fatigue, and obviously look to increase it. It's also good for ankle mobility, which is probably one of the main reasons for doing it, to strengthen just that general ankle region, which for so many people is a weakness, especially in runners who are just so used to the one-dimension movements. Next up are SMI lunges. So these are simple. You're staying in place. So you go on each vertical plane. You're going to go forward lunge, right lunge, left lunge. So those three, that would be 1 repetition. And obviously you'd build up to as many repetitions as you could. But these are just really normal lunges. So the form is the same as any other lunge, but you're doing the 3 different planes. Next up, we're going to demonstrate single leg squats. So the idea here is we use a bench to demonstrate, to show how far you're supposed to go down. So when you do these, make sure your 2 knees are not too far apart together, otherwise you're cheating. And then also, when you go down towards the bench, when you're exploding back up, it wants to be an explosion. You want to make sure that you're producing power to get back up. So it's very straightforward, but one-legged squats are one of the most important exercises for an endurance athlete, which most people are extremely weak at. So these should be a staple of anyone's training program. Next up, we're going to demonstrate eccentric calf raises. Eccentric means negative load. So you start, notice how Jess is doing the eccentric calf raises on her left leg. So you're start from position, lower the leg down, and then once you're all the way down, you use your other leg to support to go up. So you're never producing a positive force to raise, to do the calf raise. These are eccentric, so you're only going down. And right now she's demonstrating straight leg eccentric calf raises, which primarily target your Achilles tendon. So next, alright, now she's doing the bent knee eccentric calf raises. Notice how the knee is bent more forward. And this typically it's aggressive on your soleus complex more so. So people here will usually feel serious restrictions, and this will produce a lot more of a positive effect if you do it over time. But the thing to be careful of, everyone, is to not overdo these at first if you have any type of binding adhesions in your Achilles tendon and soleus, because if you do and you do these too aggressively, it's, you know, you're gonna be hurting from it. So make sure you obviously build into these intelligently and don't push past. You know, a discomfort's good. There's a big difference between pain and discomfort, but everyone needs to know their own limits. So you want to feel a discomfort. If you're producing a discomfort, that means you're producing a positive response and promoting what's meant to be promoted, which is actually reversing the scar tissue buildup on the tendons, which the eccentric loading is virtually one of the only ways to do this.